Okay, my beautiful friends, and you're all freaking beautiful. Here we go. Today, this is Sunday, March 26th, 2023. This is my newest segment of Markets A Look Ahead. And people, I have something for you. It's pretty good. You're going to love this. Before we get there, I want to show you a chart and read something to you and kind of ad-lib through it. This is what I want to do. I want to start off with this. You and I sincerely have been light years ahead of the curve on everything that's happening here. Nothing is a surprise to anyone that follows this blog. I mean, it's really unfolding pretty much as we had expected from months and months ago. This banking crisis here, you and I called this out from at least 8 months ago. Explaining, we covered it right here, how these institutions, the banks were in trouble. That was a title of several of my videos where we discussed, no deposits, no loans, no deals, global economy in free fall, central banks, raising rates, selling a fable to the people of the world, how they want to fight inflation. They're in the fight of their lives. It's a joke. And, it's an amazing thing to see this kind of unfolding the way that it is. Lately, we're seeing an enormous amount of debt buying here. They are pretty much desperate, I guess you can use a word, to foster the illusion of stability here in the debt market, which is falling apart around us. And I think that's pretty obvious to anyone that follows this blog here. 10-year yield cratering, MMRI coming down. But it's an illusion. It's not real. And we're all going to pay a terrible price for this moving forward, this new banking crisis. Now, with that said, I want to cover something with you. And one part of this is going to shock you. And I discovered this just yesterday. Now, as most of you know, once a week I put out a publication which I think is pretty important. And if you do subscribe to my free newsletter, it's in your inbox right now. So I want you to have a copy of this, and I want you to share it. Feel free to do anything you want with it. It is my sincere hope that you share this stuff. All right. Especially because we're gonna reveal something here that's pretty awesome in my view. So I'm gonna read this to you, all right, and I'm gonna ad-lib through it as I usually do. So title, are you ready? Central banks must now hyperinflate, and you will pay for it. Imagine my shock. Imagine your shock by yours truly here. Sit back, people. Take a deep breath because here we go. For those of you who may not know, I'm going to let you in on a nasty secret. Most of you who follow this blog are going to know what I'm going to tell you in a nanosecond. The power of any given central bank resides in only one thing, and one thing only. Its ability to inflate. That's it. You take that power away from a central bank, any central bank, and the whole interconnected central bank system goes away. A central bank produces only one product, debt. You all know this. And the more debt they issue, the stronger they become, not weaker. This was a fable that was sold to people during Trump's administration here, how Trump was trying to bankrupt the Fed. Can't be done. We pay for it. They hyperinflate. We pay for it via inflation. You understand? Whoever came up with that obviously didn't put a lot of thought into what was actually going on. Then they don't understand that the more a central bank is allowed to inflate, the more they're called on to issue more debt, the stronger a central bank becomes. That's a fact. This is how they have a stranglehold on the world. Anyway, here we go. Central banks collectively run the entire world economy, the financial markets, and the global financial system. They make the rules. You all know that. They are the government, period. Now, I want you to have a look at this chart here. Okay, this is where it gets very interesting. This chart right here was taken right off of the Federal Reserve's public balance sheet. You can look this up for yourself. I added, obviously, this red arrow and a couple of the things here. Now, on the 8th, okay, of this month, 2 days prior to the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, the Fed started pumping billions of dollars into the banking system. Okay, so let's see. If the Fed started pumping billions of dollars into the system just 2 days prior to the collapse of SVB, what does that tell you and me? They knew it. They knew it was the start of something. Now, since the 8th, here's the chart. Since that time, they've pumped over $400 billion into the system. Over $400 billion. And we haven't seen anything yet. It's kind of shocking. So again, this is what I wrote here. On the 8th of this month, 2 days prior to becoming public knowledge that yet another banking crisis was upon us, Silicon Valley Bank collapsed on the 10th, the Federal Reserve began pumping billions of dollars into the banking system. What this means, yet again, people, is 2 days prior to the start of the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, the Federal Reserve knew about the impending collapse. Yet, they sent out no warning. They let no one know in on it. Anyway, let's move on. Contagion. This banking crisis is spreading to other regional banks. Obviously, it's already done that. And to several bigger banks as well, such as Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank. What is being kept from the public is this new banking crisis is systemic. And without multiple trillions of dollars being created out of nothing, just like the Fed just did with $400 billion and pumped into the zombie system, it's just over. It's just over. This is why they must hyperinflate. That's what the title is here. Understanding that this is a systemic issue, that means that this banking crisis is global. Global. Being that this banking crisis involves the entire system, and with collective liabilities, listen to what I'm saying here, and with collective liabilities on these banks' books, which could easily be in the multiple trillions of dollars, the only alternative central bank they have two options here, okay? Central bank is one, to vastly inflate, like they're doing now, or allow the entire zombified system to completely melt down. Well, hold that thought. It is my belief, and I have covered this for many years, that central banks want to bring down the current system only to issue in a new one. I think we're on the same page with that, at least I hope so. A new system which will be 100% digital and 100% fiat. Why fiat? People ask me this question all the time. Hey, Greg, why fiat? Why aren't they going to go back to a gold-backed system? Because I know there's a couple of guys out here with pretty big channels and nice, big, lofty names that believe we're going back to a commodity-backed system. It can't happen, and I'll tell you why. A central bank being able to issue their single product to the world, debt, is what gives them power and control. They will never, ever give up that control. It also gives central banks the ability to buy it all. Buy it all, people, with a product that they create out of nothing. Could you imagine having that kind of power? That's what we've given central banks. Now, the next step, the entire world banking system must be consolidated. I've been covering this since before anybody else. Honestly, we covered it here. It's starting to get mainstream coverage now. I posted a link to an article on MarketWatch where they are admitting the system is going to be consolidated. For central banks to have a successful rollout of this new system, 100% digital, 100% fiat, the system itself must be consolidated into fewer institutions. Over the last few years, and especially with the COVID crisis, you know what I'm talking about, and subsequent shutting down of the global economy, we have seen small businesses virtually go extinct as to fulfill the corporate agenda. You understand? Listen. In a similar manner, the smaller banks and several large banks as well must be consolidated into a singular and much larger institutions. This process of consolidation will, and already is, requiring tremendous amounts of cash. There's $400 billion from the Fed, okay? In just the last 2.5 weeks, it's just the beginning. The propping up of the zombified system will allow for deals to be made and assets to be purchased by the larger institutions at fire sale prices. You already knew this, right? We outlined this before this whole thing started to unwind. But who pays for this? I'm going to give you one guess here. You do, in the form of skyrocketing inflation. The only outcome here, by vastly inflating the system with more debt, is much higher inflation. And I'm talking about much higher inflation, people, worldwide. Central banks will vastly inflate to fulfill their agenda to consolidate the system and therefore gain more power and control over the entire world population. Does that sound about right to you? Now, I want to hear from you, and I want you to check this out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. If you go to federalreserve.gov, federalreserve.gov, you can pump up this chart here if you just click on the 3 months. See right here? Click on 3 months, you can see the chart. Now, you will see that the Fed started to pump billions into the system 2 days prior to the world knowing that SVB Bank was collapsing, and that was the start. So here we have proof, you and I, that the Federal Reserve had advanced knowledge that the banking system was about to start collapsing, and we haven't seen anything yet. But let me ask you, where's the accountability? Okay, do you believe that a single one of our so-called representatives knows about this? And even if they did know about it, do you think they're going to call the Federal Reserve out on this? Nope, absolutely not. So 2 days prior to this whole new banking system meltdown, the Fed started pumping billions into the system. I think that tells you and me a lot, because what were we saying here? The regulators missed this? Really? The Treasury missed this? Really? The Federal Reserve missed this? How about no? We have proof that they knew. Imagine my shock. You must be on the floor shocked. People, I tell you, man, I don't think this surprises a damn one of us. We knew that there's no way they could miss this, because you and I knew that this banking system was in trouble from at least 8 months ago. Remember what we were talking about? No deposits, no loans, no deals. If we knew about it, obviously they knew about it. The banking regulators knew about it. The Federal Reserve clearly knew about it. They started pumping the system full of billions of dollars 2 days prior to the collapse. I don't know about you, but I don't know. I wonder what else they have in store for us, people. And they're not done. $400 billion in 2.5 weeks have been pumped into the system from the Fed. That's what we know about, okay? Central banks around the world are going to collectively do this. What this means, it's a guarantee that we are going to see much higher inflation. Again, this is what they're trying to do, all right? Inflate or die. And central banks will not die. You'll die. They will go on and on and on and outlive every single one of us here, all right, as they exert control on the entire world population. I want you to think about that. And I want to hear from you. Like I said, if you do subscribe to my free newsletter, link in the description of this video, this, my lovely friends, is in your inbox. And I want you to have a copy of this, and I want you to share it. Please get it out there. All right, that's it. I will see all of you in the morning, and we will put this together. Let's see what they do this week. Let's see what comes to light this week, okay? I think this is a big one here, all right? I'll talk to you.